Sharper Point Commentary, presented by Schwartz Laser Eye Center.
Because it'll be so god-awful hot, so late in the year this weekend, I was going to do a commentary about the heat and complain how I'm stuck in the heat all alone with the kids while my wife gets a girls' weekend up north for her birthday. But I've already complained enough about the heat, and I don't feel like adding more hot air to the conversation will do anything to make it seem hotter. But I do feel like complaints from voters and criticism from the media can have an effect on the issues that political candidates talk about. So I want to talk about how haranguing Harris may have helped her to head to the border. But I don't want to just talk about how the vice president and Democratic presidential nominee is finally heading to the border. I also want to talk about where Harris is headed to on that border. And give her some credit, something I haven't given her much of when it comes to border issues, because she hasn't deserved it, because she hasn't paid much attention to the border during her 4 years in the Biden administration, or at least she hasn't paid much attention to the really important part of it, the massive amounts of migrants who've crossed the Arizona border in record numbers. But now I'll not only have to give her credit for hitting the border, she'll deserve even more credit for heading to the part of the border in Arizona where she's supposed to go, Douglas, right across from Agua Prieta. Arizona U.S. Senator Mark Kelly will join Harris in Douglas tomorrow.
I'm excited that she's going to be there, get to show her the Arizona border, get to talk about an issue that she really cares about, that she's worked hard on.
Well, I don't agree with Senator Kelly on that point, but I do agree with another border thing he told MSNBC. It was about the bipartisan border bill that was working its way through Congress earlier this year before former President Donald Trump derailed the deal.
Donald Trump wouldn't allow my Senate colleagues, the Republicans in the Senate, to do anything on this issue.
So I think Republicans need to take credit where credit's due on that part of the border debate. But the part of the border, the physical part of the border, where Harris is headed, gives me some hope that she'll get a real taste of how bad things are. A Border Patrol agent who grew up in Douglas told me recently that it is the part of the entire U.S. border that is most controlled by the cartels, more so than anywhere else. Texas, California, New Mexico, even other parts of Arizona. He says Douglas is amongst the most dangerous places to cross the border because the cartels have such a control over what happens there. And he told me at one point when a former presidential candidate was coming to visit that part of the border, a Secret Service agent told him, I don't see how we can even keep the candidate safe. So I'm going to have to give a little credit to Kamala Harris for heading to Douglas, Arizona. And the reason I need to is because if we beg her and harangue her and tell her she's got to go to the border, and then she finally goes to the border and we say, oh, well, that wasn't good enough. Well, then what is the motivation to do so again and do anything about the border?
Thanks for watching Sharper Point. Click to see more from Arizona's morning news and tap the button in the middle to subscribe.